Hello, everybody. Hello. This is Varian Grant here for another episode of Indie Volt Special Issues. Today, uh, we've been discussing on Indie Volt Livewire for a time now how crowdfunding seems to be the future of indie comics. Well, uh, we got a letter from a viewer who has an issue. And his issue is that he has been on disability for the past 12 years. And he decided that he wanted to throw his hat in the ring and make indie comics. Uh, Unfortunately for him, what he discovered after having a successful campaign is that when it came tax time, he had to pay the piper, and it actually cost him his Social Security disability benefits. That was taken from him. Those benefits were taken, they were shut off because he had made quite a bit of money on his campaign. Uh, so we're going to discuss that today. We're going to talk about what you could probably do to avoid something like that happening to you, even for taxes, and try to make some sense of how to make money in this business. I'm going to roll the intro and we will get right back to you guys. Here we go.
Your body keeps calling, all systems recharging, still a shockwave straight to my bones, like it's supernatural. Pulse dropping, black darkness, you get my heart started, still a shockwave straight to my bones, like it's supernatural.
Hello, hello, hello. Back again, Indie Volt Special Issues. I'm Varian Grant, your host and the founder of Indie Volt Media LLC. So again, today we're discussing a gentleman who lost his disability benefits because he had a successful crowdfunding campaign. And if you want to jump in the chat and say anything, you're more than welcome. I will actually put the invite link in the chat for the chat into the comments if you want to pop in and talk about the situation. You're more than welcome. The link is in the comments on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. So if you want to pop in, feel free, and we can discuss it. So again, just to rehash what's happened, gentleman who wants to remain nameless had a successful campaign, and because of that, his Social Security benefits were cut. This is benefits he used for his family, for his rent, his mortgage, that type of stuff. And now he no longer has access to those funds because he had a successful campaign. The government does not understand what it takes to put together a comic. How many people have to be paid? Printers have to be paid. He may have not been in he might have been in the red even after making the book. He may have actually still been in debt. There's a lot of times people do these campaigns and they don't budget correctly. I've done it. I've never done crowdfunding, but where I put a lot of money into a project and found that I barely made my money back, if at all. So, that happens. And they don't care. They don't care at all. So they just want their money, and rightfully so. I mean, it's the government. That's what they're going to do. What this gentleman is facing now is, having to reapply and, um, you know, I guess try to beg for those funds back or beg for that those benefits back, which is going to be hard to do for anybody who you get approved for that. They'll take you off of it. You're not getting it back for a good long while. It's best to be upfront with them. We discussed it on Livewire. We talked about it and said that it's best to be upfront with the tax man, with the government. If you run a campaign, and even you might be able to send in receipts so they can see where the profit went. So keep all that. Keep every receipt. Keep every just every dollar you spend needs to be, notated so that you can show, hey, I spent money here. With my taxes, what I've discovered, I was Randy Zimmerman, who's one of the hosts on Sunday Funnies on Indie Vote Live Wire and a lot of other Indie Vote shows. He had told me, Varian, it's time that you get an accountant, and I went ahead and got one, and it's actually benefited me because I've discovered that now, even when I buy a comic book, because of Indie Vote being an LLC, I'm actually able to write that off in my taxes, which helps, because I buy a lot of comic books. So, again, hey, Simon. Simon's in the chat. I see him. Hello, everyone. What the hell is going on? Hey, Simon. So, again, we're talking about a gentleman who wrote in because he lost his disability benefits because he successfully ran a campaign for his comic book. And that campaign, now they didn't know that he ran a successful campaign. They only found that out when he did his taxes. So his life is kind of unraveling, and we're trying to make sure that we don't have that happen to anybody else. So again, the link is in the chat. If you guys want to pop in and discuss it, feel free. I think that it's something that we should all look at, not just because of losing benefits, but even taxes. You could find yourself, on the business end of a audit because of a successful campaign. I do know that I think two friends of mine have had to go out of their tax bracket, had to go up because of a successful crowdfunding campaign on their comic. So, those successes can cost you if you're not upfront with the cost, where the money went, because they see it as income. It's seen as earned income, and you will have to pay for it. Especially because listen, the government will decide that it's income they want. They don't care. For this individual, though, I feel bad for him because again, this was how many times can he put out a comic now to it's like he hasn't discovered success. He hasn't discovered he hasn't been successful with this. This isn't something he can keep doing every month or every other week to get more money coming in. It's not stable money. It's not money that he can rely on. Sim says, never declare it all in income. Yeah, I mean, again, keep those receipts. Show that, hey, I'm at a loss. I've lost money. The printing cost, if you made 20,000, show where the printing cost 9. Show where the paying the artist cost 6. The colorist cost 4. Just show how much you had to pay, that you might even be still in debt. Maybe you walked away with $300 when it's all said and done. Simon says that's why I tell everyone to register as a small business, self-employed. Yeah. It could help you out in the long run. All of my companies are LLCs for that very reason, and it saved my bacon a lot because there are times where I could have been held in a different tax bracket, and me being a silver spooner, I can't risk having my finances messed up. Simon says, don't know about Kickstarter, but Indiegogo gives us the overall finance and taxes. And if any of those crowdfunding sites offer you that, take advantage of it because it's priceless. I've recently discovered another crowdfunding site, and they're raising big money over there. I'm talking about minimum to back something is $1,000, and people are running campaigns over there with $9 million worth of pledges, which is insane. But it's there. Money is out there if people backing campaigns, but it can get you in trouble if you're not careful and diligent. Simon says investment expenses plus research and development. Yeah, R&D is important, and that's why with Indie Vote now, a lot of stuff is R&D. You go to the movies, that's R&D. You write that off. You buy a book, a comic book, R&D. Anything you do, Netflix, all that good stuff is research and development. From Decimal Small Publisher says, what exactly happened with said individual? Did she did not do self-employment taxes on the funds or show that it was not charity received. Yeah, I believe that's the case. That he did not show that. He just filed his taxes and said, "Hey, I made a book, and this is what I got," and now he has to pay on it. And now it's triggered his Social Security disability benefits to say, "You made money this year, you're cut off." Bringing in Niobe Comics' own Larry Higgins into the chat. He's eh. Hello, Larry.
Well, yeah, brother. I'm just listening in. It's the subject that you're bringing up about reporting for taxes and stuff is an interesting one because some people will look at it like especially when I first started off, I barely made $2,000. Was that even worth reporting? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm sure there's probably some sort of dollar threshold where if you start making an X amount, that's probably at that point in time start to worth reporting in. You know what I mean? But what is that dollar amount? Is it $5,000, $10,000, $20,000? I don't know.
Yeah, I believe for like disability benefits, I believe it's like $3,000 is like the threshold. But he had a successful campaign, and they didn't seize it. They didn't know about it until after he filed taxes. Again, I hate to say it, if he wouldn't have told them, they wouldn't have known. But he told them, which he did the right thing.
Sure. I mean, but I'll say this: many don't, and many get away with it until you start making high amounts of dollars. It's almost kind of hard to hide. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I was making $50,000 as opposed to say $5,000, yeah, I'm sure the Canadian government would be more interested in knowing about that.
Yeah, I like to think the Canadian government's a lot nicer than the American one, but
oh no,
I've heard stories.
But look, I mean, when I first heard this story, and I think you mentioned it like a week or two ago, I thought it was because someone had ratted this guy out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, this guy's making money, he's not reporting it, and that's what got him in trouble. I didn't know he ratted himself out.
Yeah, he filed taxes. He tried to do the right thing, and but he did not list it as not listed as self-employment. He just listed it, and they see it as earned income. And when they see it as earned income, you're done. Like,
well, it'd be nice if you actually got all that income and didn't have to spend it on packaging and mailing and production of books and paying of talent.
Mm-hmm. You've done a few different crowdfunding campaigns. Could you tell people who might be listening in how important it is to keep those receipts?
I never kept receipts, dude.
No?
Not until we started making 5 figures that I, never reported it and didn't care.
So like so now I guess now that you're gonna start making, you started making higher dollar amounts, is that something that you're worried about now? Like, I need to show how much I paid my artist, how much I paid the colorist.
Well, yeah, and the great thing about PayPal is, PayPal's got a transaction of all that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So everything I pay through is through PayPal as far as talent goes. So if I ever do need to bring it up, I could bring it up. As far as mailing, I do a lot of my mailing online. So all my mailing receipts are on the Canadian Post website, should I ever need them. So, and then of course I got paper copies of receipts for, knickknacks and things that I bought that, are sort of required. Say you bought a printer to print your online labels. That's a business expense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bags and boards, those are business expenses. Gemini mailers, those are business expenses.
Yeah. I think that it's very important to have those. You're gonna need to turn them in with your taxes. Yeah, I made this amount of money. And again, I fought it for the longest time. Randy told me to get an accountant. I was like, nah, I'll just keep going to H&R Block. I'll just keep going to, where I've been going. No, an accountant's great because they can they'll look at you as an individual and be able to file the correct, and sometimes even actually cheaper than going to one of those all service places.
Here's what amazes me though, right? Like, I knew you were going to start doing these special issue shows, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But here you are, like, why, you're in a nicer room. Almost looks like you're like broadcasting from a hotel room or something, or maybe it's your washroom, and you're all dressed up nice. Like, where's the variant in the chair? You know what I mean? Why is this a whole different setup?
Yeah, he has to the variant in the chair has to go away for special issues because it's we talk about we talk about much more worrisome issues. The variant in the chair can be I'm actually in my living room at this point, which I'm gonna nickname Studio C. Um, but yeah, I'm against the picture window on my living room, and this is how we do
It
that.
looks so clean cut and
Yeah,
wholesome.
yeah. This is I had to get hosed down for this. Uh,
You're almost like a different person.
yeah. This is the quieter variant, the quieter, calmer variant. No, this is yeah, just doing this show. I try to be a little more, like focused on the issue, whereas on regular Indie Vote, I'm kind of all over the place, very scatterbrained. But
Sure.
yeah,
Well, back on topic then. What is the ultimate fallout with this particular story or situation? What's the
well,
latest?
he's lost Social Security benefits, his disability benefits. He cannot work. He was getting those benefits because his inability to work. So since he made a campaign, his campaign raised in the letter he wrote, his campaign raised 12 grand.
Okay.
So they're like, hey, use that 12 grand you made. And he's like, basically, I didn't make that. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a lot of receipts where he paid, his artist. I'm sure he does have some, but he probably doesn't have a lot of receipts that he kept that he can send over to them and show them. No, it was a project. I put something together. This is how much we made, but I only walked away with, $600.
You see, and that's the argument I would make. Should I ever, have to run into this, is that the Kickstarter is not an online sales site, and that the money we make are not sales; they are donations, they are pledges, and there is a difference between a donation and a pledge and a sale. That is the argument I would make.
That's a good argument. That is a good argument. Tyler Carpenter says special issues. Larry, Larry, Variant, a mature convo. Hey guys, hey Tyler.
There's
Yeah,
an open link, Tyler. Come in here.
yeah, there is an open link. If anybody wants to come in and discuss this issue because it is an issue that can touch a lot of creators. Simon says it takes deductibles. Jody McPhee from That's for Small Press Publisher says, I wondered if he filed using a 1040 Easy or 1040A instead of a 1040 or 1040S. You can show that was made and break it down as into how it was made. Most on disability don't do full 1040s. That's true.
I got WD-40.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they call those forms in Canada, but yeah, we do have self-employment forms, which you can show, hey, here's what I made this year. Please don't get mad at me.
I always said if I made like 50 grand, I would turn this into like a full out legit business. You know what I mean? Because so far I still don't look at it like that. So far I still look at it as something under the table. And if it does come up, like I said, I got my defense argument already, and I do have all my receipts ready to go should it happen. But it's again, when you're crowdfunding, you're not selling, you are gaining pledges like it's a GoFundMe. Like, you know what I mean? It is a donation. It is a pledge. It is not a sale. And this is what the government doesn't seem to understand, but we'll make them understand.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. I think it's going to take someone to show them, hey, listen, again, this was a project. It's like an inventor making something, research and development. How many times did this fail? How much of the proceeds went into actually creating the product?
Tell me where on Kickstarter it says this is a sale.
It doesn't.
Tell me
Remember,
on
they go out of their
Kickstarter
way
where
to
it
say
says
it's
you're
not.
guaranteed to get anything. When I go on a Kickstarter, I look at you pledge, and the wording is very important here. The technical aspect is that you pledged X amount of dollars. It's not you have bought a product for X amount of dollars. You have bought nothing on Kickstarter ever. Okay, Kickstarter will tell you you're not guaranteed to receive a goddamn thing. You know what I mean? You are not buying a product. You are supporting and pledging a donation to a creator so that they can see their dream come true. This whole notion that Kickstarter is a pre-order website is rubbish. That's never what it was, and that's not what it is.
But there will be people who use it as that, though. Like
sure, but we're talking strictly in the defense of defending yourself, saying, hey, I made 16 grand when I didn't really make 16 grand. I made $2 and spent 15,998 of it,
We are adding Joe D. McPhee to the comments. He's coming in. Joe D, welcome.
I'm hearing some things that are not exactly right.
Okay.
That's just
Go
an
ahead.
opinion, though.
No. I understand the opinion. Don't get me wrong. I'm just going to look at it from the tax end of it because, like I said, I have relatives that work for the IRS, so I kind of got like the inside scoop on some of this stuff here. Granted, crowdfunding is an investment. However, when
It's not even an investment; it is a
taxes,
donation.
No, it's
Yes,
considered
it says right on the
investment.
fucking website, my friend.
Wrong. Again,
Incorrect.
Look at-
Shall I
no.
bring up the terms of service at Kickstarter and we should go through it one by one?
again, federal government is going to look at that as an escrow account. That is not necessarily a quote unquote donation.
Okay, necessarily is a relative term. It has to be exact. It has to be black and white, my
Okay,
friend.
you could probably speak for Canada. I'm speaking for the United States at this point. So I can't speak on Canada. So whatever happens in Canada, you might be 100% correct on it. But in the United States, they consider that investment, which is
In the United States, that would be
gains at that
legal
point.
battle with me and them then.
Right.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would probably in Canada, that would be a legal battle. But in the United States, you would lose. You would lose wholeheartedly. And that's why I was asking for more specifics on this, because it's the way that you have to report it that determines whether it is truly income or capital investment or capital gains towards business venture.
And I'm talking about not reporting it at all.
Completely differently. That gets reported completely differently. And that would affect how they would look at, oh, did he violate his terms of disability?
Let me ask you, Larry, would you have reported it?
No.
No.
They can when they find out, then I'll deal with it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Joe? Would you have reported it? Would you have told them, hey, I did a $12,000 campaign?
I would have never filed it as $12,000 pure income. That's where knowing how to file certain things come into play. Eventually they're going to find out, because a lot of that information is going to get reported because of, like I said, like Larry said, terms of service with these crowdfunding platforms. Those crowdfunding platforms keeps records of that, which goes over to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually they're going to check into this stuff, and when it comes up, you still going to have to, show records when they audit. So it's just a matter of time. It's like you could choose your poison now or take it later.
Do you guys think it's a result of creators usually being poor businessmen, business people, businesswomen, businessmen? Is that what we're seeing here? A result of?
Mm-hmm. Or lack of knowledge of the business aspect of it.
Because you say, oh, I made 12 grand here, government. Here's how much, and then you forget that I better show them where that 12 grand went. Mm-hmm. I need to show them an itemized list of where that 12 grand went, because I bought new tires for my car. It's almost like, I noticed something. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, Larry. When they make movies, a lot of times they'll create an LLC in the movie's name. So I seen them do it in was it Avengers? I think it was some movie. It was like Avengers LLC, and it's like, what is that? And Marvel Avengers LLC, and it was because it was for the movie, and I think it was for tax purposes, so they could write everything off. Hey, we drove from here to there. That was, gas money. We bought new tires for the cars. We bought a new van for this. It's kind of lowball, but I think
say you bring up my Exhibit A.
Oh, okay. I didn't see. Oh, you did share screen. Okay, all right. Here we go.
So this is right from Kickstarter.com/help/taxes.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got?
Let's read, if we will, what they say. Why do people support projects on Kickstarter, and what do they get in return? Backers pledge, and I quote, Pledge, not buy. It's not a sale. Pledge money for different reasons. Some backers rally around their friends' projects, supporting people they long admire. Many just inspire a new idea. Others inspire a project's reward, blah, blah, blah. Projects creators keep 100% ownership of their work, and Kickstarter cannot be used to offer financial returns or equity or solicit loans. Some projects are funded on Kickstarter may go make money, but backers are supporting projects to help them come to life, not financially profit. This is important terminology when you are going to defend yourself that this is a sale, not a donation, because it is a donation. And then it goes
Larry,
right into
you got to scroll you have to scroll though to the next paragraph. Hi.
Yeah, I did. Hi, Tyler. Tyler just stepped in.
You guys got to scroll to the in general in the U.S. funds raised on Kickstarter are considered income, and so
it's
that's
not
what
income if it's a pledge, man. I'm not selling you a product, though, Tyler.
in the U.S. funds raised on Kickstarter, like that's what the U.S. That's what our government. That's what our government considers it.
Canada is different.
Yeah,
Then I would
so
never do it. Does Indiegogo consider it to be the same thing?
yes, but this is what you have to do. All right, everyone, time to get business savvy because I agree with when Varian.
Get that sign out of Tyler's face, though.
When Varian said, is this a problem with indies and like their lack of business sense? Absolutely, absolutely. Like, oh, I want to make comics, I want to make money. Well, did you know that after $600 in the U.S., you technically got to pay taxes on it? Now you can kind of go under the radar for the most part, and you can be quiet because the government's like, yeah, $600, and yeah, whatever, you're nobody. We're not going to like go crazy on you, but technically technically on a legal standpoint, you do need to pay taxes on it. With Kickstarter, you have to do your due diligence with the receipts, with filing for an LLC, for doing all the tax deductible stuff. You have to do that part in order to protect yourself in the US. US doesn't give a fuck about you, unfortunately. You have to do all of that part. You can, figure out a way, figure out how you can write off your office space. If you're going to buy a new tablet, you're going to hire an artist, you're going to do all this stuff, figure out a way to write those off so that you don't, because the US, they see you got $1,000 in your pocket. Well, they're gonna come and they are going to tax you. I made $48 over my tax threshold on YouTube, and I had to pay $140 in taxes because of my YouTube.
Thing, it says right here, beyond deductions, a creator may be able to classify certain funds raised on Kickstarter as a non-taxable gift, which is exactly how I see it.
Yeah.
It is not income. A gift is something given out of detached and disinterested generosity, which is my classification of every single pledge made on Kickstarter for personal reasons without the expectation of getting something in return.
But you have to do that. When my wife files our taxes, we have to go in and we have to go, okay, what was everything? I have to have receipts, because if you don't have receipts, like the person that we're talking about, and the government sees, oh, homeboy is on disability and unemployment and he just got $12,000, they're not gonna like
I'm
that.
gonna tell them every fucking pledge is a gift, a non-taxable gift.
But he needs to do that, and clearly he didn't.
It's right there, right there.
U.S. government don't give a crap, man.
That's why I say it's like I can't speak for Canada. It's like, but in the United States, that would not.
You don't need to speak for Canada. This is talking about your jurisdiction right here in the U.S. It says a gift is something given out of detached, disinterested generosity.
On the giver's point of view, not the creator of the project's point of view.
It has to count because this is the people you're doing business with, right?
But you have to do it yourself.
Handling and funneling your money, are they not?
Again, you're talking to people who have either LLCs, and in my case, I'm a subchapter S corporation.
Smart.
I had to register myself as a subchapter S. That stuff always has to be documented.
Now, there is stuff for all these other different countries in here as well, people, so you might want to click on them and look.
Yeah.
Here's the thing also, with Comic Cons, I did Arizona Comic Con, didn't think anything of it, raised my money, made some money, blah, 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 and then who comes after me a year later? Arizona State. They want their state taxes. They go, hey, we found out that you were here and you made money off of us. And luckily I kept, because I'm very by the book. I try to keep all my receipts. I was able to show off all these documents that said I paid $400 for a table. I paid this much for travel. I paid this much for whatnot, and I only made $400. So I'm actually in the red. And they said, okay, fine, go away. But had I not had that, they're wanting at least $300 to $400 right there, and because they don't care.
Yeah, Louisiana shook me down. Wizard World New Orleans.
Shook me down.
Oh yeah, it was a shakedown because they come in day one and they want you to tell them how much you think you're gonna make.
Yeah.
And it's like, how, what? And I'm like, I don't know. And then so city comes in, then state comes in, 2 days apart from each other, and they hit you up. And I paid mine. You also have to pay for a business license, which is $45. So to even go to a con in that city. Question from Marv. Marv E says, he says, does an artist outside of the U.S. having a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign have to pay taxes to the U.S. government? I don't believe so. No, I think that as long as that, because that money is going to be distributed to an account that you hold in your country, so you'll only have to report that to your government.
Right, like I stated before, all these crowdfunding platforms is nothing more than an escrow account. They're just pretty much holding money.
But just know that they
Not
know.
only are they holding the money, they take a fee. They charge you. Don't forget that part too.
Kickstarter at the end of the year, I can only imagine the accounting service at Kickstarter who have to go into every single of these campaigns and file them with the government. So if you think, oh, my campaign only raised $1,200, it's nothing. Well, the government does know. In the U.S., the government does know. Now you're a small fish. They're like, whatever. But you do one of these $12,000 campaigns, and they go, okay, we let this person slide. Now we're gonna audit them. Nothing is scarier to me than an audit.
An audit is very scary. And I've never been on the business end of one of those yet, but I've seen some friends go through it. You're talking about, I had a buddy go through it for 2 years. 2 years they took him through an audit. Every receipt, everything. He showed them. But so again, now to the gentleman who wrote in, his thing is his Social Security disability benefits, which he gets every month because he can't work. He's been labeled as a person who cannot have a job, not maintain a job. He is now without a monthly paycheck. His life is kind of an upheaval, especially if he doesn't really have any money from that campaign left.
Yeah, and so he should argue that all the funds that were raised on Kickstarter was a non-taxable gift and not income. Boom. That's it. It's black and white, man.
He can try to argue that.
This guy's shaking his head, but yet the information is right there on Kickstarter. They tell you can do this. So I don't understand why you're shaking your head and why you don't think you can make the argument. Explain that to me.
No, I'm not saying you can't make the argument, but that argument doesn't just stop there. That's the reason why I'm shaking my head. It's like it's a lot more to it than what is stated here on this website.
Joe,
you're gonna have to go through a lawyer. You're gonna have to go through the laws of your state and all that. But I'm saying this is your starting ground. This is the start of your defense, so that you can save your monthly check. And not only that, this case would then precedent everything else that follows for Kickstarter regarding taxes. But if every trader just says it's all a non-taxable gift, boom, problem solved. He could have
gone through the exact same thing before he filed his taxes too, which would alleviate all of this from the very beginning.
It's a lot harder in the U.S. to fix a tax mistake. It is. Sorry, I just made my own store. No, like in the U.S., like doing your taxes, it's there's a kind of a joke where like someone's like, oh hey, like I have to do taxes. How much? Do you guys know how much I owe? Yeah, we know how much you owe. Oh, you're gonna tell me? No. Yeah. What happens if I get it wrong? You're going to jail. It's you get like filing your taxes and making sure you do it at the beginning, because if you can get it right, you're square. No one's gonna come after you. They're like, whatever, tax season's done. You get it wrong, to fix everything else, the paperwork you have to do, the time, the legal issues. At that point, and it sucks for this guy because we're talking about his livelihood. For me, if they're gonna send me a fine, and I'm gonna be like, crap. It's better off for me just to pay the fine than to go through all the legal battles. But for this guy, he has he's lost his livelihood. So for him, he does need to he's gonna have to go the long road, the long road of trying to prove it. This is why, as indie creators, everyone who's listening, you got to keep receipts. You keep receipts and you file it. I have 3 external hard drives, one for my creations, one for my videos, and one for records, because you never know when someone's gonna be like, hey, like the other day, I was like, hit up an artist I worked with. I was like, hey, what was our rate that we'd done? And he was like, oh yeah, it was like $500. I went, that is hilarious, because no, it wasn't. There's no way in heck I'd pay $500 for you. So I went through my little files and I went, oh, there you are. This is the exchange we had. It was $200. This is why I'm gonna pay you. Because also, here's another thing, contracts between artists and writers, like they don't really hold up. They don't hold up in the US. Like it's more of just like an agreement. But after like legal stuff, like it don't really matter. So do everything you need to do beforehand. If you are on disability and you can foresee, okay, I'm about to make some money, you better have everything in order. Everything in order.
I'll tell you guys this too. If there's a mistake, contact the government before they contact you. At my first company, I checked the wrong box. And they thought I was a retail store because they thought I was a retail store that sold comics, a brick and mortar store. So they charged me a tax every month as a brick and mortar store. Imagine my surprise when I got a letter from them stating that I owed somewhere north of like $30,000. Well, I freaked out. I called him like, whoa, what is going on? What you own a brick and mortar store at this address, Mr. Grant? I said, no, that's my home. And they looked at the zoning. They realized it was a residence, that I wasn't running, it wasn't a store. And then it took 2 sheets of paper. 2 sheets of paper. They sent me this little form. I filled that out. Everything went away. But I was one of the lucky ones, because there are people that get stuck with that and have to do all type of debt consolidation, call up these companies that help you get out of tax debt. But yeah, if you're on disability, there's a good chance when you file taxes and that you were part of this $10,000 campaign, $12,000 campaign in his case, now he's lost his disability. He's going to have to refile and get help. Eric Hotz in the chat. Hello, Eric.
A lot of us creators, let's be real, we're really stingy with money. Like, we don't want to spend money. We try to figure out all these ways that we can save money. I think if you're going for this, like if you're really gonna be like, okay, I'm going for this. I mean, a $12,000 campaign is no joke. Like, congrats. That's awesome. Get yourself an accountant. Go find a friend who can walk you, who has this knowledge and can go, okay, this is what we're working with. Because they're gonna know. Because none of us know everything. Like, Joe, nice to meet you. First time us meeting.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
How did you sort out your S corp? Because that's I'm working with something like that right now.
I went to my state bar association and I spoke with a lawyer because I was going to do what everybody else does, which is do the LLC. He pretty much broke it down to me. He's like, nope, we're going to go to subchapter S, because 9 times out of 10, when you take certain losses, especially with conventions, book productions, when you have contracts with other artists, actual physical printing, and warehousing, overhead and everything, you want to take losses, and 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have money left over to pay yourself a salary. So
Max DeVille in the chat. Hello, Max.
So at the end of the year, those losses that are still outstanding, especially for things like paying yourself, could come off of your regular income tax. And he, pretty much broke it down. And then after that, getting the right accounting software, talking to the right people about accounting to make certain that you have everything documented, making sure that you keep good books, because I do everything through QuickBooks. So every transaction from the business bank account goes directly into QuickBooks. It's itemized. At the end of the year, I could show the federal government profit loss sheets of everything that was done. So all of that stuff was done beforehand and was told and explained to me, and was even I was even handheld through that process until I got it perfectly right, where it's become second nature. So that's the reason why I kind of talk from the standpoint that I have been. It's like I said, I get Larry's point because I've been there, done that. But also in the same aspect, I also know the other side of it. It's a battle. That battle you don't want.
Joe knows the government don't give a
that
crap
battle.
about him.
You don't want that battle. 'Cause
I
it's
want to
like,
bring up what Dominic Bercier here says. Hello, Dominic. He says, I report everything. I must. Totally agree with Joe D. Solid form. I am on disability in Ontario, Canada, and I make comics. And I care deeply about success and trying and business ethics. Max Seville also in the chat says, he says that Dominic goes on to say, I had to register as a private business only, aka sole proprietorship. I am not allowed to play with columns, so no LLC, no ink, nothing. It's my ass. But they do calculate expenses versus income, and I am allowed to work. They want you to work if at all possible. So if I'm in the red, equal, you're good. But say I'm finally in the black, plus $1, then they offer $100 Canadian more. We're basically living on about 800 USD a month, guys. I will say this: I know that I was told for disability at one point. They said that I remember reading that it was for every $100 you make, they'll take 50 from you. It's what I was told. I'm not sure if that's still the case. That was several years ago. I was looking into it for someone, and I was like, "Yeah, if you work, you're gonna lose money." Which, if you want to work, is great, but you got to be careful.
Is
Dominic,
Kickstarter considered working though?
well, I think that income. I mean, well, it depends on who you ask. Some people say, "Hell yeah, it's a job."
If Kickstarter says that in the US,
But it's a job you do once every few months. It's not certainly any sort of weekly or monthly income.
but it's an income, and income equals tax, unfortunately.
Dominic continues. I've finished up. He says, but about reporting in the black plus X and it's net income and it's enough for subsistence, then I get refused additional funds from disability, and in theory, I'm all set. Sorry, long. Sorry, it's long. Thanks for this. Looking sharp at Studio C. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Marv's got to go. Thank you, Marv. Thank you. Hopefully, everyone's able to learn something from this. Make sure you get those receipts. Make sure you keep receipts. Just like we talk about receipts online. Keep those actual paid ones. You bought a pack of pencils, keep them. You bought, and then too, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Sometimes, I mean, they know, but this gentleman got himself in trouble, and they're not gonna help him get himself out. He did the right thing. He reported his taxes. He did the wrong thing. He reported his taxes. So
he the wrong way.
Yeah, he reported it the wrong way.
Right. Max says in U.S. it depends on how much money you make each year. It has to be considered gainful employment. Yeah.
If anyone, there's an article that I have bookmarked just because I'm setting up like a new kind of business in July. So all of this stuff I'm working, if it's called the Art Law Journal. Just type in, should I open a corporation for my art business? It'll walk you through. It's a massive blog. It'll walk you through what you need to do. And once you and give you all the different ideas, once you figure out, I guess, which one of these ideas in terms of how you're going to run your business is going to work on you like the best way, go hit up an accountant, go find a friend who knows their stuff. And then they'll be able to help you really set it up. If you're going to take the sucky thing is if you're going to take any of this seriously, you got to take the business side even more seriously than the art, because gosh, you don't want the government coming at you. They hate you.
They do. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I'll give you guys a chance to have closing statements. We'll start with Larry. He was here first. Larry, thanks for joining me today. Closing statement, sir. What do you think?
I'm glad I don't live in the U.S.
I wish you did, Larry. We can hang out.
Seriously, I think there's an argument that can be made. If you want to fight the battle, I think you can make the argument. There's several different articles I've been just sort of perusing on Kickstarter. Not on Kickstarter, but about Kickstarter. and about taxes. There are certainly arguments that can be made. Joe has obviously done his homework and he's got his business straight and he knows what's going on. But I would say to this guy, you already lost. Why not go ahead and try and make the argument? And buy Niobe on Indiegogo April 4th. We're launching. There's my shill variant.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Joe, you were second in.
Like I said before, I'm not disagreeing with Larry by no means. So I want to put that out there. What Larry said is a very valid argument. However, in the bigger scheme of things, that's a long haul to make that right. And I also want to stress that, yes, report these things as far as your income and do it correctly. That's the whole moral of the story of this issue here. Reporting the stuff correctly. It's not just straight income like a regular job when you're dealing with crowdfunding. It is considered business. It's considered capital gains from people, like Larry said, donating to you. You have to treat it as such and understand that business aspect of it.
I hate that word, capital gains. I learned about that when I sold some stock, and I was like, "What are you talking about? I gotta pay capital gains tax."
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. My name's Tyler. You can find me at youtube.com/drawandtalk or patreon.com/drawandtalk, where we have a silly goose time and we make some really cool comics. You also can find me on Webtoons. My comic there is Chefs, Culinary Heroes Earth Force, and it's about superheroes who get their powers from food. It's very exciting.
I'm excited.
And Tyler says, pay your taxes.
Oh my God. Well, what's funny is I say I try not to pay my taxes. Pay your taxes up until the point where you got to pay your taxes.
We were joking around, Tyler, yesterday about this character that we're going to call Mukbane, who just eats everything and gets power. So I'm just totally going to steal Tyler's chefs.
You should. Yeah. That's a cool character, a mukbang. I like that.
I want to thank you guys for joining us again. Consider what you're doing. Ask around. Call a lawyer. Talk to people before you get involved in some of these campaigns. You could find yourself on the business end of an audit. You could find yourself cut out of certain other benefits if you're receiving type of benefits from the government. You could throw your whole lifestyle in upheaval because you're chasing
and someone else could ruin it for you too. Let's say I really hate Tyler, and I happen to know Tyler ain't reporting anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
I want to say, listen, this is 2021. This is cancel culture. We know what goes on. We know that you got enemies and enemies of enemies. You know what I mean?
True.
They will try and sabotage you.
Yeah.
All it takes,
unfortunately,
all it takes is a phone call. And
you got people calling CPS on creators over comic books. I've never thought I'd say that in my life, but I don't like the fact that we're mad about your comic book is similar to mine. I'm calling CPS. What?
That sounds like a whole other special.
Let me tell you something though. There is a business for that. Let me tell you, there is a guy who lives in my state, who lives in this area, and I won't say his name, but all he does every day, he just drives around town. Oh, does that billboard have an Office quote or the picture of a character from The Office? Hey, someone's using your. Someone's using The Office characters. You guys own that? Oh yeah, they didn't pay you? All right, listen. Listen. You pay me $5,000, and then you can go screw them out. I'll give you the information. That's how he makes his living. He drives around and he sees, oh, you can't do that. Calls up the people who can sue them, and he gets a fee.
It's called dry snitching.
Yeah.
I wonder if he reports all of that income.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. Next, we're back in week after next with another special issues. We're going to cover some more important things that happen in the comic industry, and also we'll also be discussing with a young lady named Alex. If you haven't heard already, she wrote into Geekgasm. She was doing work with an artist. She's as an artist with a writer. She was getting paid $425 a page.
I don't believe it.
Oh yeah, $425 a page.
Can she prove that? Does she got the receipts for Kickstarter for that?
Well, these would be PayPal receipts. Yeah, she was able to show she's even getting paid $425 from this gentleman, and around page 20, he started getting flirtatious. Now
Yeah,
that-
no, you were going over this story on the interview. The way I had known it was she wasn't the one that was getting the 420. She was paying 420.
Oh
for
no
each
no.
page.
No, she's getting 425 each.
So
page.
she's the artist and she's getting paid 420. Who in the hell is she?
Yeah, well, we'll bring her on. She actually wants to come on. She wants to come on either Geekgasm or Special Issues, but
She shouldn't go
I
on
mean,
Geek.
I mean, is she Jim Lee? Is she, like Todd McFarlane? Who?
If she's
you
having
know?
sexual misconduct issues, maybe she shouldn't go to
Well, no, but that's what professionals make in Marvel and DC, like 400, 500 a page, depending on who they are.
If
You know
that-
what I mean? So if you're an indie comic book artist and you're raking in the 420, I want to know who you are. You know what I mean?
The problem is that right around the time she, around on page 20 or so, he started sending the little flirtatious messages, pictures of genitalia, that type of stuff. She kept working for a while, and then it got unbearable. So recently, she told him, "Hey, this isn't going to work. You can't do this to me." He said, "Okay, now you've made it weird," and now he's suing her.
because he wants his
19.
money back.
$19,000.
That's brave to sue someone when you show your picture of your penis. That's brave.
Very brave.
You a
It's very
brave man. You gonna show your pee-pee. You brave.
It's very
Well,
brave.
I mean, she must have the money. I mean, to defend herself, she made 420 a page.
Well, did you know she mentioned in her email to Geekgasm that she had gotten very used to the money, and really, I mean, who wouldn't? You draw a page, you get 425. You draw another page, you get 425.
It's almost
you
10
can live off that
grand.
money.
It's
Yeah,
almost 10 grand. Jeez.
yeah, you can live. Well, she drew up to 45 pages.
Oh my gosh, that's more than 10 grand.
I
That's like
got to
six-
see
that's like
this
six-
artwork. I got to know who this is. You got to let me know when this show goes down. I want front row seat.
That's $17,000, Larry. Do you got 17 grand?
Dude, man, if I had 17 grand, I would make the most banger book you've ever seen. I'd be like hiring like J. Scott Campbell to draw that bitch. You know what I mean?
It's like $1,000 a page.
right?
Jake says that that's a
17
$19,000 PP. That's what that is.
This sounds terrible. This is why you don't ever have me on a show like that. But there's a part of me, I can't speak as a man. If there was a man doing that to me, I'd be like, yeah, honey, he just keeps sending me pee-pee pics, but hey, I'm making a lot of money.
How much is your integrity worth? 420?
$420. 425 a page.
Over on
You
Geekgasm.
found Tyler's price, folks.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's actually really messed up about her, and that she's a victim, and that is very
for
bad.
sure, for sure. I
Sure,
mean, that's
sure.
a business arrangement, right? That's not like, hey, baby, let's go to the bar and mingle. Like you're working for someone, and then that person all of a sudden says, well, I'm paying you all this amount of money, so that gives me the right to be widely inappropriate with you. No, that doesn't fly, especially in today's age. That would never cut. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. There's Max said $425 a page. LOL.
That's what
yeah.
Max pays for his entire book.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, Max.
And $420 cut. Guys, I do want to say we got a guy here, but yeah. So hopefully she'll be coming on the show to speak with us about it. I know that she is very angry because now he's taking her to court. So we're gonna have her on very soon here, and of course everybody's welcome back at that point too to speak with her. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. We will see you. Oh wait a minute, there's more comments. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I hope she didn't have a gentleman's agreement.
Read the chat, Varian.
There is a gentleman's agreement. There wasn't a gentleman's agreement. There was a contract. That's why he's suing. And the other thing goes, they live in the same city. They live in New York.
Here's
So-
the thing: if I was her, yeah, take me to court. This is great. In the hashtag Me Too movement that we're living in right now, take me to court. I'm gonna
Well,
make
I
even
mean-
more money off of you than what you were giving me on the page.
I mean, at
rate.
least when you go to court, at least something gets settled, in the eyes of the law. It's no longer just allegations and he said, she said. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Pat Koala says $425 a page. This writer must have a terrible reputation to not be able to secure a known name artist at that page rate. I don't want to speculate, but I don't think he wanted a known artist. I think he wanted her. I think it was his way of getting her. I'll
Well,
pay her this money.
is that like prostitution? He thought that she was a prostitute. Like, hey, baby, you do this art for me. I'm gonna overpay you, but that entitles me to some sexual.
Yeah, it's like a
deviancy.
power manipulation. I
Yeah.
pay
Right?
you,
Right.
I pay you, you do this. It's a power.
And like
it's
she
a
said,
power.
she quit her day job because this money got so good to her.
I would.
So she was like, okay, I can leave my day job. I'm just gonna draw this guy's comic.
It's like the comic book sugar daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It was supposed to be a 60+ page comic. She got 45 pages in, and now he's like, you know. And then she said, "Hey, you're making this weird." He says, "No, you're making it weird. Now I don't want to work with you. I need my money back. I can't even work with like." So what's she supposed to do with this?
It's an interesting power dynamic, though. I remember, like when I set up my Patreon, if someone were to back me for $100 a month, my Patreon starts at $2. If you were to back me though at $100 a month, I would, in some weird way, as an artist, feel like obligated to serve you. Like they go, "Hey Tyler, you know I've been to Patreon for 5 months. Can you do a little quick doodle for me?" Well, yeah, you've paid me $500. I'll absolutely do it for you.
Daddy.
Yeah, you my sugar daddy. Yes, daddy. And then they over time they go, "Hey, listen, you're gonna do what I say. I pay you $100 a month," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you're freaking right." So it's a bad power dynamic when a person does that for art. I mean, 425, you quit your job. You quit your job.
Yes, she did. So, guys, we got to get out of here. I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you so much for
Can I ask
watching.
you one last question?
Sure.
Whatever happened, like to her book, though, in general, is it just in limbo now? Is she going to finish it? Is she going to get another artist?
Well,
Is it
it's
just
his
scrapped?
book. It's his book. It's the guy who's paying her.
Oh, it's his book. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So she don't care. She got the money. And...
Yeah, she's got the money.
This is the thing that interests me about this whole case here. Why sue? Because again, in the court of law, she did work. She is entitled for compensation for her work. So suing for 19 grand for what? It's like he's the one
Because he got
breaching that
turned
contract.
down. That's why.
He's breaching that contract. She's not.
Yeah, he's screwed. It's not gonna look good.
It's like you didn't accept my advances, so now I'm going to sue you because you said no to me.
Exactly. The moment she goes, "Hey, check this out, Judge, a pee-pee," well,
Right.
he's dead. He's dead.
Well, she, as long as she has that proof. I mean, I don't want to call a woman a liar or anything, but I mean, she better have the proof if she's going to back it up.
Better save that
It's
pee-pee.
like the only way that he could win something like that is that he has to show that she kind of led him that way by the way that he was communicating. I was like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
Well,
if she responded like
private DM, every private message, and expose your whole, aspect of your life to the courts, because what if she did, make promises to him and led him on? I mean, that's sort of like the, how it gets weird. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if she went like, "Yes, daddy," then like, okay.
I don't want to even say what I was going to say. All right, go on.
All right, thanks, Marion, for having us on.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Right?
All right, you guys, we'll be back here week after next with another special issues. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Stay healthy. See you soon.